I think he was more upset that I almost walked out on you than about what you'd done. You see, he's got a daughter of his own about your age.
Will everything be all right?
Yes, I think so.
Well, let's just hope your efforts haven't been in vain.
Lynn was not to go anywhere without your permission.
She just walked off.
For no reason. Mr. Butterfield, this could well cost her the chance of an early parole.
Yeah? Well, we did have a bit of a tiff about some money that was missing, but, well, I thought the girl might have been involved, but
What?
she wasn't, Miss Vernon. It was all a mistake. See, what happened was this. A bloke called and he paid Lynn cash for the order. Mrs. Grant wasn't here to take the money, and I was out too.
You mean you just left her here by herself? On her first day?
Well, she thought I was blaming her for taking the money. I suppose I was a bit rough on her. Look, Miss Vernon, I'm sure that's the reason she's walked off.
Well, Lynn was your responsibility, Mr. Butterfield. You should have reported it at once.
Well, I didn't know she was going to go off like this. I thought she'd have come back by now. Look, I don't want her to get into any trouble.
Have you got a telephone?
Yeah, over there.
Thanks.
All right, Vera, just handle it that way. You know what's expected.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
Yes? She's what? Have you notified the police? Why?
There's been a misunderstanding with the owner. Lynn's done nothing wrong, and he admits he's to blame. When she's had time to think, she'll turn up. I'm sure.
I hope you're right, Jean. We can't afford another scandal after the Frankie Doyle escape. Let me know as soon as anything happens. I want to be kept informed immediately. Lynn's disappeared.
Oh, I knew that girl shouldn't have been allowed out alone. Now do you believe me that Miss Vernon has no idea what she's doing?
Vera, we have to try. That's the whole point.
But Lynn Warner's a dangerous criminal. She's already been involved in one armed hold-up.
I'm sure you have your own work to do.
Well, sorry, Miss Bennett.
What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the laundry.
Oh, I'm not well. I feel real rotten. I keep getting these headaches. I think it's something to do with my claustrophobia.
What are you talking about?
Well, I keep getting these black spots behind me eyes and turning dizzy, and the screws... Oh, sorry, Miss Bennett. The officer said she thought I should see Dr. Miller. I reckon I'd feel better if I could get out in the fresh air like I did that day with Mrs. Davidson. I felt real good after that.
Wordsworth, the only thing wrong with you is malingering.
Eh? God, what's that?
Oh, go on, you stupid woman. And then get back to work.
Gee, a bit of this wouldn't go astray. He could put his shoes under my bed any time.
Oh, what are you talking about? You wouldn't know what to do with it if you fell over it.
Oh, that's what you think.
Here, give us a look. Oh, gee, why don't they show all of him? Where'd you get it anyway?
One of the screws.
Yeah, might have known.
Raymond Quack. He says I need glasses. Says I'm getting the headaches because I need glasses.
Oh, yeah?
Nothing wrong with my eyes that a bit of fresh air and a change of scenery wouldn't fix, but he just laughed. Shouldn't have a flaming license.
Yeah, well, I told you you're wasting your time, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long he's been practicing, but he'll never get it right at this rate.
Listen, if you were on the outside, Lizzie, you would have to get off your bum. No more sitting around with your feet up half the day, eh?
That's right, Smith. No sitting around with your feet up. The break was over 10 minutes ago. Let's see some work.
Hey, Vera, who do you have to see to be recommended for that work release program? Not you, eh?
That's right, Smith. Not me. Not Miss Vernon, not Mrs. Davidson, no one.
Oh, I knew no one would do me a favour.
Well, I wouldn't take it personally. It's not just you. There'll be no more work release for anyone.
Hey?
Lynn Warner's taken off.
Oh,
On her first day.
but it's only just started. Oh, damn.
You're disgusting.
Oh, what would you know, prune face? GB, do you think what she said's true?
Oh, how should I know? Stupid little bitch.
Mr. Foreman and members of the jury, have you agreed upon your verdict?
We have.
How say you? Do you find the accused guilty or not guilty of murder?
Not guilty.
How say you? Do you find the accused guilty or not guilty of manslaughter?
Guilty.
Hearken to your verdict as the court records it. You find the accused guilty of manslaughter, and that is the verdict of you all?
It is.
Prisoner at the bar, you have been found guilty of manslaughter. Have you anything to say, or do you know why sentence of the court should not be passed upon you according to the law?
Well, Mr. Wilson, do you have anything to say at this time?
Your Honour, I would be derelict in my duty to my client if I were not at this stage to make a final plea for leniency. However, this court has already heard the tragic circumstances that brought Karen Travers here today. And we have dwelt at length on the emotional turmoil and mental trauma that she must have endured before taking that final action. Add to that the agony of having spent the past 6 months in prison with the prospect of many more years ahead of her, and you will have some idea of the punishment that this young woman has already suffered. And the jury has seen fit to reduce their verdict to the lesser one of guilty for manslaughter. And I feel quite confident that by leaving her to the mercy of this court, that I am leaving her in capable and understanding hands.
It's very kind of you, Mr. Wilson.
The prisoner will rise.
Karen Travers, you have been found not guilty of murder, but guilty of the lesser charge of manslaughter. I agree with the verdict of the jury and commend them for their wisdom. On the question of leniency, I agree with Mr. Wilson that the court has heard sufficient to convince it that there were mitigating circumstances surrounding the killing of your husband, and that at the time of the killing you behaved with impaired judgment. I therefore order that your sentence be reduced to 2 years, and you be given credit for any time you have spent already in custody.
All rise. This honourable court now stands adjourned until 10:30 o'clock tomorrow morning. God save the Queen.
Come on. Mr. Butterfield, any news? Oh, well, unless she's hitchhiking, she's not going to get back to the farm. She hasn't got any money. Listen, do you know if she's got any friends or relatives in Melbourne? Oh, yes, that's a good idea. I don't like to bother him, though. Yes, as soon as I can. Goodbye. Oh, can't it wait, Vera?
No, it can't. We have to call the police in now. It's standard procedure.
And that is Mrs. Davison's responsibility. What are you trying to do? Hang me, Lynn, the governor on the one rope? So much for team effort.
This isn't a Girl Guides camp. It's a prison, and we're dealing with criminals.
Don't you think I know that? Anyway, she's not due back yet.
She is missing.
Sorry, ladies.
That's all right, Greg. Come in. Vera was just leaving.
Wilson phoned. Karen Travers has had her sentence reduced to 2 years manslaughter.
Great.
Listen, do you fancy dinner and a few drinks to celebrate?
Oh, Greg, I can't. I've just got so much happening. Look, I really do have a lot to do. Would you mind?
What was all that about?
What?
What's the matter with Jean?
Lynn Warner's run away from the nursery. Her ridiculous work release program has fallen apart on its first day.
No.
Oh, yes. Will they listen to me? I told them that a system that allowed convicted criminals loose on the street is going to be abused. And do you think they're going to do anything about it? If I was in charge here, the police would have known hours ago.
Mrs. Davidson certainly has her problems.